You kind of want to put it out as being a bad caster is like porn. I can't tell you what it is, but I can tell you when I see it.
Welcome to Turn Extension, a supplemental podcast for the Advanced Maneuvers YouTube channel.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Turn Extension. My name is Tony, or Polar Bear Cub on the forums.
Hey everybody, it's Kevin Dowdark on the forums.
Hey everybody, it's Devin Cutthroat Cure on the forums. And today we are joined by our fellow Minion player, Gaston.
What's up, guys?
How you doing, man?
It's going well.
We felt that we need to properly represent a minority, non-existent faction, so we brought on a Minion player.
Man. That's like too easy with the jokes. That really is.
It's not a joke, it's the truth.
If you haven't heard lately, Kevin is not a fan of Minions.
I'm just happy we don't have. I'm just happy we don't have to spend the entire cast with Kevin going, "See Gaston," or making jokes for Gaston to listen to, since he won't even listen to the cast in the first place.
That's true. That was identified earlier today. Don't even listen to us.
No, I got super angry and meant to post something about what Kevin said, and then I forgot and never did.
Nice.
Yeah, it was, I don't know, he didn't like something, and I was like, hey, go fuck yourself. And I don't actually remember what it was, so I didn't post anything. But see, I listened to like 1/2 hour of an episode like 3 weeks ago.
A little known fact, it is a requirement to become a member of Advanced Maneuvers to have the attention span of a gnat.
That is
that
very
why all
true.
my games are so quick?
No, it's because you're a bully whenever we play. That's why.
That's so hurtful.
It's the truth, though. All right, so let's jump in to first. Let's talk about the new releases. So we saw the February releases coming out. A couple of the cool things coming out is the Thorn Gun Mages are coming, which I am so excited about. Models look great. Colby's coming out, and then also we saw Kaya 3, and she let us know it's Kaya 3 because she was holding up 3 fingers, just to inform everybody, and Loki. So we also got some little bit of insight of what they're going to be like. So who wants to start us off on talking about the Great Circle Jerk of 2017?
Well, not only are we getting all of that, but I believe Circle's also getting their theme book in February as well.
Yep, yeah, that's true. So yep.
So they're going to get, some or not theme book, but army book, whatever it's called, whatever they're calling it now.
Command book.
Command book. So they're going to get some theme lists and stuff like that, and a little bit more lore. I'm curious to see if they actually advance the lore any for this new war.
Well, I mean, you're kind of griping about Circle. They're getting the same exact releases that Protectorate is getting in their theme book. They're getting another caster and a character, Beast.
They are.
Did they ever confirm if there was going to be themes and stuff like that in there?
There will be multiple themes.
In these command books?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's going to be a scenario of you get a new caster, new, Jack or Heavy or something like that, and then themes to completely change up the way you've been doing things for the past 6 months.
Well, the way that they're presenting the themes in the command books is that they're going to be based around battle groups. So it's not like, I wouldn't go in there expecting to see like a gun mage theme. I'd go there expecting to see like a Circle Wolf theme and a Circle Wold theme.
Well, now that's all I'm going to hope for is a Gunmate's theme.
And a more.
But that kind of confuses me a little bit, just because of the fact that, like with Trolls, we just got the subtext Northkin, and it says that these models can be used in lists that include the Northkin rule, which I would only think would be a theme list. So, and I don't see how that would come much into a battle group.
We're just talking about like the command books. The command books are supposed to be for the battle group. And then you'll get a separate theme force book that'll be the Northkin theme. It'll be the Gun Mage theme. It'll be the Pigs Rule the World theme as well.
So it makes me wonder. It makes me wonder what War Beast Trolls are going to get in their book, because we already know that, as you said, Manos's getting a new Warjack, and we know Circle is getting a new War Beast, but Trolls are coming out first, and we don't know what our.
It'll be a character for Ragnar.
It's Madrak 3. He's not only a warcaster, but also an impaler. Look at the spears he's got.
No.
No, it'll be a character for Ragnar. I'm more than willing to put Taudark's money on it.
I
Who's
like
that?
it.
We still don't have one for Madrak, and he has 3 iterations.
But then the Protectorate one, the character Jack is for Malekith, and this one, the character Beast is for Tanith.
Your
So,
shorts
you
for
know-
Tanith? Did it say that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the pattern basically says whatever the caster was that came in the battle group boxes is going to be the one that gets a character, which feels weird to me in a way, because it's like here you've got some casters who have been in the game forever and a day, still waiting for some sort of character or something for them, and then here's the new on the scene people with new on the scene character beasts.
I would challenge you that it doesn't matter in any way, shape, or form because the characters are generally taken without their caster anyway.
It is true. I mean...
Remember, Getorix is Chromax. Although the
but
way Getorix gets farmed out, he's more like a Danish hooker.
I think the biggest thing, though, is that they've been trying to design the character Jackson Beast to function with any, but function extremely well with the caster of their designation.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. But
Hand of
if
Judgment
he-
works with anybody, but works great with Fiora.
But he works great with anyone too, and he provides you with rules that you can't get anywhere else, and that's why everyone takes him. Kind of like similar to Getorix. He's got the hitting power of a Warp Wolf, but he's got the armor and the survivability as well, which you can't get on any of the other wolves. And I would challenge you, what is Getorix's affinity with Chromac?
Is it honoring now?
See? I have no idea.
You could have
Great.
challenged me and not know the answer.
Great job.
It's kind of like when everybody would take Erebus with Terminus, even though you know, or like Baratheon is supposed to be Terminus's Warjack, but he does nothing for him. You know, it's just like that would make no sense.
God, that's pretty bad.
So all I'm saying is that I wouldn't focus too hard on the fact that it belongs to Tanith or it belongs to Ragnar.
Well, we know that in the new beast is Loki, and we got a picture of him a long time ago, actually, back in what was it, SmogCon?
It was Mark II. Yep.
Yeah, so SmogCon, we saw a picture of him, and this is the wolf that's got, it looks like he's got a chain weapon and a small buckler shield and some other stuff. So I'll be interested to see if he's got the buckler, if that means that he's not going to get armor as a warp, because he's got the buckler to increase his armor? Or?
Well, he gets immunity to CRA and CMA as a warp. He gets Hunter as a warp. Prowl is his affinity, and I'm assuming he's got a third warp that could be strength, it could be speed, it could be ghostly, it could be something else.
I don't know. He'll probably still see play, especially if the chain. Did they ever confirm if the chain weapon is like
A chain
4-inch? Is it like, I know it goes around shields and stuff like that, but is it the 4-inch one like that you get on the Kraken and stuff like that?
I have no idea.
I don't think so. I would hope not.
No, I think it's two. I think it's a 2-inch. They did say he had reach, so I think it's 2-inch reach, like the bouncer has on his chain weapon.
Okay.
Okay.
But it
I just
also
want to
gets
make
a
sure
drag
that it wasn't a
ability.
scenario of, oh, I teleport 8 inches and then I sling my chain 4 more.
Well, it's probably I teleport 8 inches and then I drag you, so I could probably hit you 4 or 5 inches to pull you in.
Yeah, but there's a difference between a 10-inch threat range and a 12-inch threat range.
Well, part of it is also dragging things into the threat range of other models.
Well, I was thinking, can't you drag? But if you drag them in, you get to automatically hit them with your melee weapon. Then you could probably buy additional attacks with
You get
your
to make
melee
an
weapon.
attack with your melee weapon.
You get to make an attack with your melee weapon, but then you can
Only
buy.
the fucking Prime Axiom auto hits.
No. I'm not saying auto hits. I'm saying that afterwards you can spin. He can spin his fury to make additional melee attacks. Anyways.
Yeah, because the
Just drag.
Warjack from Crix, I think it's the Reaper, can do that. Can pull people in and then start making attacks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
same
but
with
his
Prime
is
Axiom.
actually just flat out unlimited. Like the Reaper is like, oh, you're that far away? I pull you all the way in.
That's how drag works, though.
Yeah, they're exactly the same.
Yeah. So
His
Kevin,
range
what's
is
your
not 2.
No. What I'm saying is that he's gonna have the drag ability, which
Oh,
is
okay.
gonna be further than 2 inches. He's probably gonna be able to drag 4 or 5 inches, or probably even 6 inches. So he can still do what you're afraid of. So
Yeah,
he can
look at
teleport.
Proteus as an example.
Actually, yeah, Proteus is a good. Yeah. Proteus is a good one because he can drag models 4 inches in, and then he can start hitting them with his melee weapons after he's dragged in.
Yeah, I mean, because Circle is having issues getting engaged.
Well, I think it's more the issues with getting left at the altar.
So then that puts us onto Kaya 3 fingers up.
Yes, 3 fingers Kaya.
I would like to point out it definitely
sounds
matters which 3
disgusting.
fingers are up.
Wait,
Did anybody ever confirm if that is actually Lars that she's writing?
Yeah, it's Lars.
Oh, okay.
It's Loris.
it's Laris' sister, Baris.
Well, I think it was
Scylla?
Ford that was making mention that if there's like 2 moons and one dog is named after one and there's another dog named after the second moon or something like that. He started talking fluff and I clocked out.
Yeah, he was. I think he was wish listing more than anything.
Who was
No.
this?
Ford.
Oh, no, I don't pay too much attention to the text messages sometimes.
Anyway, no, it's just her riding around on Lars.
So what is her feat and what is her abilities and how aggravated am I going to get?
Oh, I can't wait for this one. She has synergy. She is a master of hit and run tactics, boasting Field Marshal Reposition 3, and a feat that enhances her defense and allows you to move through enemy models and ignore free strikes.
So it gives
Why?
out parry.
Why?
Well, since it says it lets you move through enemy models and ignore free strikes, it could also be incorporeal.
I was
And
thinking,
parry.
oh yeah, I was thinking acrobatics and parry or flight and parry.
I
But
I
either
thought
of
that it
those.
said in the comment that it gives that she has parry, like
It says ignore
specifically.
free strikes. It says move through enemy models and ignore free strikes is the exact wording.
God, it just feels like, I don't know.
Say it. Say it.
It's fucking bullshit Circle Christmas all over again, man. It just seems like the models that are coming out for Circle are fucking terrifyingly good. Una is really
guarantee-
strong. Loki seems
She's pro-
great. And so does Kaya.
She's probably going to have that ability that the bushwhackers have, where they can disengage.
Because, yeah, okay.
It says a master of hit and run tactics. So that's the only thing that makes me think that they're going to be able to hit you, get engaged, and then back away, other than just the parry, too.
We'll also reposition for the battle group.
Yeah,
Correct.
you got to be careful when they use terms like master of hit and run in their lore text on their models, because that's really boils down to what Circle shtick has always been. So you're going to see a repeat use of that terminology, even if there's no actual rule that actually allows it.
And I guess I'm fine with the hit and run tactic. My issue with it is that the power of some of the weapons. Like Fort was talking about that chain weapon being power 18. That'd be
He was just spitballing.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't. There's no numbers assigned with anything.
Okay, because that would be stupid. Because that goes up to a power plus strength 21. Like, that is terrifying to see.
How what?
That's scary to see on a faction that can move as easy as they can. Get
How are you
through
getting
stuff.
21?
Power plus strength 18 synergy.
I guess you forgot about the extra +2 from Primal.
God damn you.
I'm just here to make things worse.
So
It's
power plus
successfully
strength
done.
It's power plus strength 23 on a faction that it's very, very I don't know. That's scary. It makes me concerned. I'll say that. Is the I am a little bit concerned.
Well, we'll have to see how it plays out. That's the best we can do. I'm sure if it's broken as hell, Fort will expose us to it on day one.
Yeah. Oh, he definitely will. Send us 50 goddamn lists about it.
And then talk about it for a solid week nonstop.
Calm
God
down, guys.
Damn you,
Well,
Fort.
one of the
God damn you,
advantages of
Fort.
Fort talking about it is that he, so this is one of the things. If you have somebody in your meta who is super strong and super skilled at something, embrace the fact that he's exposing it to you quick and early because you're not going to get caught by it in a tournament.
No, and I agree. And
Not to mention, he's doing all the research for us. I mean, let's be honest. Like,
Yeah.
we haven't had to look up a thing because
Yeah.
he's done all of the research.
I feel like I know a lot about Circle, and I've never even once looked at their cards.
That's true, and I appreciate that. I really do appreciate it. But God, it gets intimidating at times. It really does.
So with all these really good things that are coming out, such as Loki and Kaya 3 and the other stuff, what else did you want to talk about today, Tony?
So Gaston brought up a really good question for the group, I guess, is how do we make good lists with subpar casters? So why don't we kind of delve into that a little bit?
Well, I think the first thing we need to do is we need to break down what do we classify as a subpar or bad caster. Like something that's bad for one person would not necessarily be bad for another because their play styles are adjustable to it. So what is our plateau? What is our start point for classifying a bad caster?
Well, I think you can say that, like, you know, you can adjust your playstyle or whatever, but you kind of want to put it out as being a bad caster is like porn. I can't tell you what it is, but I can tell you when I see it.
Keeping it classy, San Diego.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to definitely elevate this. But when you start looking at what makes the good casters, and it's very obvious that there's a strata. I mean, it took everyone in 2 months to crack the game and solve all this. But look at, you know, you go to WTC, it is, I think 99% of Circle lists had Wormwood as one of the pairings. I think that's like literally the number. I think he was 48% out of 50% would have been all of them. And
so would you say that good casters aren't necessarily, I mean, is good necessarily the right term or is obvious the right term?
well, one follows the other. I
So
mean,
then
how long did it take for you to declare Una broken?
I didn't. Ford told me within the first minute of him seeing the card.
It was after I got off the
so
toilet, personally.
Did it send you back to the toilet?
Yeah, it did send me back. Thank God I was doing it while I was on the toilet.
You're always on the toilet.
I really am.
So then are we necessary? So is it more of a scenario where we're asking how do we create lists for less obvious casters?
I'd say less competitive. If you look at a lot of the ones that are considered top, they either solve a problem, present a problem, or they have a toolbox. So Wormwood, obviously, he has the ability to move your opponent's models around. He fixes armor. He fixes infantry. He brings control elements. And they're all in kind of one package. And then if you look at a lot of the other casters, like everyone, you know, I like to pick on Grail because why not? He brings basically none of those things.
He's strong in Mark III.
And I haven't actually played against him. So.
Don't give that man a little credit in Mark III. He got a little bit of a tweak. And by tweak, I mean his nipples. So I'm going to spitball. I'll start with, so if we're talking about less competitive, less obvious casters, is it safe to say that these type of casters usually have one thing that they do right? It may not necessarily be strong, but at least it kind of, it's the best thing on their card.
And that's exactly where I was going with when I was talking about building good lists for bad casters. Sorry, I interrupted.
See, no, you're fine. You're fine, Herman. I think the thing for me is not that makes a subpar caster is having a caster that does something and then having a caster that does something better. So it's basically it's not exactly that caster is bad. It's that caster is being invalidated by another caster. So I think for me, it's like when I put together like Madrak 1 and Madrak 2. Madrak 1, you know, lets everybody attack, you know, an extra time, so he has the potential to put out a lot of damage. 2 and Madrak 2 does it better because of the fact that he's allowing people to move and attack and, you know, get different charge vectors, and just his spell list, you know, just boosts the amount of damage that you can put out. So it's like, you know, you don't see a ton of people using Madrak 1 because of the fact that he's outdone by his epic version. And I think that's what makes him a subpar caster. It's not because he's not good, and it's not because he's not solid. It's because there's somebody else in our faction that does what he is supposed to do better.
I mean, I can see that being a scenario, but I can also see that there are casters that are out there who don't have somebody in competition with them, and yet they still seem to fail to pull up to rank.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is you've got 13 factions now, with most of them have over 10 casters. There's going to be bad ones.
Yeah.
See, not all of us have over 10 casters, okay? Some of us only have 5 still.
Really? Really? Signor only's got 5?
You get out of here. You know what I mean.
I'm sorry, let me consult the last video that we played and see what faction you were using.
Hey. Ow! Ouch!
Ouch! Oh!
Ouch!
Too soon! Too soon!
I don't think we're going to be able to go back that. I don't think we can go back that far.
That's hurtful.
That was a long time ago.
That's hurtful.
I think that was the last time I played a game on camera too.
So I think one of the things that a starting point for somebody who's like, I really, really like this caster, but the internet feels like it's bad, or I just look at it and it feels kind of subpar, is really dive into the card and find that one thing that caster does do well. Like, there's got to be something on that card that drew you to it, though you're like, oh, I think this is actually pretty good. And I really feel like in order to make that caster good, you just need to double down on that ability, whatever that ability is.
Yep, and I absolutely agree with you. And that's I had actually come to this with examples of Helga and Maylock from Minions.
Isn't Helga really good?
She's not really bad.
Oh, okay.
Nothing is black and white. Everything is gray.
Herman, good at dodging the question.
Everything is Pharaoh.
No. But is there another tactic? Like, so if we sit down and we go, okay, caster A makes focus efficiency really good because they have this ability where if you start within so many inches of them, you get 2 focus instead of 1. Is it a scenario where you go, all right, I've got 75 points, I'm putting 75 points to this ability, or how much do you put into going all in? But then how much do you keep back and go, okay, I recognize even though I'm all in on this ability, there are certain things that I need to do so that my list just doesn't fall flat on its face every single time.
The key is to go through their card and reduce it down to 2 or 3 abilities. Like Helga's actually pretty easy because hers is she has the battle group gang, you got Defender's Ward, and you got the feat. And that's literally all you need to worry about when you're building a strategy. She has other abilities that she'll use throughout the game. When it comes to building a list strategy, that's it. That's the 3. Maylock, he's got the Field Marshal Undead, he's got his feat, he's got Mortality, and he's got a Death Pact, which is just an upkeep that you throw out there. That's really not a huge strategy portion. So you can take these 2 casters, and you might be playing them because you're bored, you might be playing them because you like the way the model looks, but you can reduce them down to 2 to 3 abilities that you can build your entire list around to take advantage of. And then you hit those buttons and you just push them as far as possible.
And then is that a scenario where you're like, okay, this caster does this one thing really, really good. So for my pairing, my other caster needs to be a little bit more rounded.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to take a bad caster to a tournament, I would pair him with a good caster. So you look at ADR just recently. You look at the Minions ADR, your pairing is going to be Rask and one of these other 3 guys that you feel like playing. Or if you're playing Circle right now, it's Wormwood and one of these other 12 guys that you feel like playing.
Is Wormwood in the ADR?
He's
not in ADR, but just in general.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I was about to fucking flip my table.
No, that's another thing. This ADR, I think, talking about subpar casters, I think this ADR is really taking advantage of that. I mean, every faction has their newer casters minus Convergence because they don't get one, and Minions because they don't get one. Mercs because they also don't get one. But otherwise, everybody else, they're using one of the new ones, but I'm seeing a lot of casters on there that, I don't see a lot. It's not like your general run-of-the-mill, heavy hitters, and I think that's kind of interesting. And I'm seeing quite a bit of complaining about it, but still, on the other hand, it kind of excites me because of the fact that and you being able to have your sideboard. I think that could be really beneficial.
I don't think that the sideboard is enough to make up for bad caster when you compare them to taking a good one, to be honest.
I'm kind of in the same boat. Like,
I
like the concept of ADR, but it becomes a scenario where the ADR supplement isn't, that sideboard isn't enough to make up for just really bad design.
Like, every time someone's like, hey, I really like ADR on this and that, I'm like, well, I was challenging them, like, when was the last time you played ADR?
Yeah, and that's That's what's hard because, like, if you can't get local tournaments to do ADR, it makes it really challenging. Or if you don't have the ability where you're going to go to a lot of conventions, then ADR doesn't seem as appealing. I know back in the day when I was actually running tournaments, I tried to do mine as ADR, so at least it would add some spice to it.
Select casters for like, I try to select casters like and play them a lot. And when it comes to my painting, I always try to pick casters that are actually on the ADR list. So like the last one, two of my main ones for a while there were Ragnar because he was on ADR and Doomshaper 1 because I had him painted and he was also on ADR. So, and these and I'm trying to do the same. So, so I'm going to be playing Horgol and then possibly trying to aim to play one of the others. And it's not just because of the points, but I don't know, it kind of gives me something to focus on. And I mean, however many points it is, I haven't looked at that because I don't get to play in a lot of tournaments since I'm usually running them. It's definitely beneficial.
Well, and Herman was actually the one that introduced me to this concept back in Mark II, is that things like ADR and themeless and stuff like that are great for an individual who's like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, I just don't know how this caster works. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Theme lists were kind of like, okay, well, if you don't know what you're doing, try the theme list and then go from there. Maybe you break out from the theme list because it just doesn't work for you or something, but at least the theme list gives you a border to work within. And I think ADRs is a similar scenario of, hey, I've been, I'm new to this faction. I just picked it up. My friend just sold me their Convergence. That's probably a bad example, but
it's a great example.
I don't know what to do. I don't know which casters to start with. Why not try the 4 that are on ADR and go from there? Like, Privateer Press picked them for a reason. Give them a shot, whatever that reason is. But if you've been playing the faction for a while, you're probably not going to be as inclined to go to the ADR because either the pairings just don't match up to what your experience puts them at, or the the point gain just isn't enough to make up for the skill set that they've been provided. I've definitely seen, and when I first saw the ADR pairings, I kind of felt it myself. I looked at the pairings and I was like, this is really weird. Like, it's almost like the ADR casters were picked because, hey, let's pick the 2 new ones, and then let's pick 2 others that we don't see often on the tables at conventions and stuff like that. That really felt like how it was. Like, there was no tactical decision of, well, let's put this caster up because we want to provide our ADR players with an armor solution. Let's put this caster up because we want to provide our players with an infantry solution.
Well, I mean, I think you hit on the tactic of why they chose the ADR this time around that they did. I mean, I think you're correct on their thought process. That's also kind of why I looked at the ADR and it's like, moving on.
Yeah. So it's just going to be a situation where it's going to be different for everybody. I don't take this as me saying ADR is bad. Just understand that ADR is not a immediate solution. It's a suggestion of play.
You should definitely take it as Stowdog saying ADR is bad. He hates Champions format.
I mean, pretty much.
I think it's cool, though, and I mean, I can definitely say this, is that one thing I definitely know when we've been talking about, like, when I've talked about, like, what we've done with Store Wars and stuff, one of the considerations was adding ADR into it, because I did notice that when I started running regular tournaments, not the Store Wars circuit, that we actually, when I included the ADR, that people said that they had a more diverse they got to see more diverse casters. It wasn't always just circle players playing this or, troll players playing this. And I think that's one of the things for me, especially when you're looking at some more like competitive players, like some of the people in my meta, and they're playing completely different casters because they want RNA. And I think that's the biggest benefit for me when it comes to, ADR, and especially when you can a subpar caster with an extra few points and kind of use it to where you need it.
I think that adding ADR probably doesn't necessarily hurt any of your local tournaments. My guess is that most TOs don't run it because it becomes this logistical nightmare of, okay, well, I checked your list at the beginning of the tournament, and if you're ADR, I have to check you again before you play. And some TOs don't want to have to go through that hassle. They'd rather just be like, I checked your list at the beginning of the tournament, go play, leave me alone. Like, come back when you're ready.
Well, no, I mean, you check the list at the beginning of the tournament, and if they get caught out mid-game, then they get disqualified.
That's true.
Exactly.
Straight up DQ.
Yeah,
And hey, if they're on
No, go Tony.
I say, and if they're on a winning table, that means one less round, hopefully.
Yeah, because usually, like whenever I ran ADR, like I make it very clear at the very beginning, hey, people are running ADR, make sure you look at what's being dropped. You know, make it clear what is being dropped and what is being added, because it is up to the two players to distinguish, you know, if there's a discrepancy. And there has been times where there has been discrepancies, and we're midway through a game, you know, and if you're taking on ADR, you need to know that you are taking that risk, that you need to do it right, you know, because it is very much on the honor code, and if you break that, then you know you lose out. And I have disqualified people who have been on top tables before due to misplaying ADR.
That's pretty exciting.
Harsh taskmaster.
I know. That's why he's part of the PG elite.
My expectation is when you play this game, you have one, an app that makes a list for you, and two, the ability to count and add. So it's unfortunate when it happens, but
yeah, like if you play like old school 11 points up in Mark II. See, everyone gets a free Harbinger. You get a free Harbinger, not Harbinger. You get a free Avatar. You get a free Avatar.
That was the best War Room bug ever.
That was the worst War Room bug ever.
Oh my god, I had so many good lists with that.
all the free avatars.
So that it doesn't come across as an inside joke, go ahead and let it, reveal the story of what we're talking about, Herman.
And how long was it after the War Room release? It was
a couple of years after War Room release, because it was getting towards the end of Mark II, I feel. The last
that was a
year and a half.
For that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I was just using War Room one day, and they had a bug that just the avatar showed up as 11 points, but it didn't count towards your list total. So I had all these lists that were, free avatar. And it took us a couple of games to figure it out. I was like, wow, this is a really powerful list.
It does. Yeah, it was like, man, this list is really strong. And I think Kevin was when I was like, you're 11 points up.
It sounds so bad when you say 11. It was one avatar, just one.
Okay.
Just one avatar.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That sounds so much better.
I mean, really, can you not deal with one avatar, noob?
Yeah, you're right. My bad.
Well, he did deal with it.
It's effectively playing against
EE.
EE. So, that's fine.
Actually, when you put it that way, my list was fair and balanced.
That's true. Super
Shut the hell up.
But no, I kind of thought it would be an interesting topic to go through. Hey, I want to play this caster. No one else really likes them. And how do you build a list to help them succeed as much as possible? It kind of like harking back to Mark II when we had Epic Resnick for Protector, and he was so bad. So bad.
I don't know how many hours of texting you and I spent trying to figure Epic Resnick out.
But the thing is we did. We figured him out by reducing him to a feat. He became just a feat, and that's all he did, and I won like 75% of my games after that. Because that's what you do. You reduce him down to just what matters. You build a list around what matters, and then you throw that question out there, and sometimes your opponent can answer it, and sometimes they can't. When they can't, you crush them.
Yeah, I think that's the only flaw to that tactic, is that it becomes a scenario where when you do find that one or two things and you design your list around it, you have to recognize that it's one of those scenarios where you're going to set it on the table and you're going to look at your opponent and go, can you deal with this? Yes? Okay, I lose. Like, I'm going to be playing an uphill game because you've basically slotted your list to function one way and one way only, or one direction and one direction only. It's going to result in scenarios where you lose because the person has the answer to that problem.
Yeah, I had a pretty ugly one where my opponent popped down an army that was immune to fire, and my entire gun line was fire. I was like, well, good game.
That sounds like a great counter.
I
wish I had options for that.
So something I need to definitely ask, just because, and it's quick because I know we're coming to the end of the cast, but it just popped into my head. What are your guys' thoughts on, like, usually when we see them release what's coming out in a certain month, we usually see a lot more diversity across the factions, but for this one, we're completely across the board seeing one faction. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
It's to be expected from what they announced at Lock and Load. I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
They said that when they were going to make new releases, they're going to be paired with the book, and they're all going to come out at the same time.
Yeah.
which I think's nice because it goes back to the one thing we were arguing about even the last cast is like we'll see models come out, we'll see the rules come out for a model, and they won't be out for a month, possibly even a year to a year and a half. And now with this new change in their tactic is they're coming out with the book, and those models are coming out almost right afterwards, which is really, really nice. It makes it so you don't have to wait. You know, there's no like more unknown uncertainty on when this model is going to come out.
It is really nice to be able to have like a list come out or a theme book come out or something like that and immediately get the models for it and be like, cool, I've got what I need to run. It's not like, oh, I've got this list that I want to run with Growlars. Let me wait a year and a half for it to come out. The counter to it, though, is awesome. January came along. I got my new, or no, I'm sorry, Trolls is in December. December came along. I got my new Trolls. I got my new things. Everything's cool. Everything's hunky-dory. And it's nothing in sight for the next year and a half.
Oh man, that must suck.
Or
Don't know how
hey, I'm
that's like.
Harkovich, and I can't wait for the victor. I can't wait for the victor. I can't
But-
wait for the victor.
All your
hate
grumbling
you so
aside,
much.
I mean, it's not a coincidence that the Commandos and the Pharaoh Theme Force are coming out the same day.
What do you mean?
Do you think that they're going to surprise us with the Valkyries?
No.
You know?
No,
Because we know
the
they're coming.
Valkyries are going to come out for 6 months. At least.
They will come out after lock probably because I would see Convergence and Minions and Mercenaries getting their books. They're not even supposed to be getting them until after lock.
Yeah, I mean, you're also missing out on Carver on a Chariot and Gatorman Husks. So,
Correct. It's complete. As I said, it's just baffling for me that they would basically put that elite cadre in there, and then you don't even have access to it. And that's always with them saying, you know, hey, we're trying to make sure that we're putting these things out. You know, it exists, and that's straight up saying like there is a unit that is this. You know.
Hey,
So-
Devin, you play Trolls, right?
yeah, you're like the prime example of that.
How did that go for you when Hunter's Grim came out and we were like, what the hell are Highwaymen?
Hey. Okay, that was
I'm
Mark
sorry.
II.
I'm
This is
sorry.
This is an all new war. All new war.
All new war.
I want somebody to take the old Aladdin song, A Whole New World, and do it to War Machines and A Whole New War.
A whole new war.
You didn't have
New
That
to
sounds like-
exciting
I was not
enemies.
asking for you to sing. Shut the hell up.
That sounds like our producer should definitely work on our team and get us
Nope.
together to do
I
a
know-
music video for that
Oh
because
my
I'm
God.
totally down with that.
That would be
Oh man!
amazing.
Oh man! Hey, acapella maneuvers.
Yes, let's do
Acapella
it.
Maneuvers. We don't even need to change our acronym.
All right, Taskmaster, you got it.
I'm just here to help.
Making problems worse again.
All right, so let's wrap up. Let's also ask our listeners, what do you guys think about taking a not as strong caster and making good lists out of them? Also, what are your thoughts on just in general on what ADR is like and anything else we've talked about? So, anybody have anything else before we wrap up?
Nope, not for me.
I'm good.
All
Hey,
right.
thanks for having me on the cast.
No, thank you for coming on. I know you're going to be on in about 2 more weeks whenever the Minion book or the Minion Theme Forces release.
November 23rd. Not that I'm counting.
All right. I can't wait. All right, guys.
Oh,
Well,
I bet you can't.
all right. Well, let us thank you guys very much for listening to another episode of Turn Extension. Have a good one.
Night, everybody.
Night, everybody.
Night.